So, we have some Marvel to talk about today. I played some Spider-Man. The Captain Marvel trailer was released. Hatman played some Master Chief, which has nothing to do with Marvel. But anyway, my name is Micah Curtis.
I'm not Micah Spellman, and I'm very different, apparently.
Yes. Welcome to Micah and The Hatman. All right. Let's go ahead and get right into it. As for those of you who don't know and might be new to the podcast, every week we discuss exactly what we digested over the last week. Our picks for the week, Hatman, you said the Master Chief Collection. Why?
Well, because it got updated, and also because that's basically what I've been playing since, hurricanes kept me indoors and kept me from going to see new movies and stuff. But, update, it's fixed. For the most part. So, do you remember when it was released? It was an absolute buggy mess, and everyone was talking about how they completely shit the bed.
Yes.
Well, about 4 years later, they finally gone back and fixed the mistakes. Matchmaking works. You don't have as many bugs in the campaign anymore. I mean, even the menus got a redesign, so nothing is, super confusing. It's very straightforward. You can download each game individually, so if you hate Halo 4, you don't have to have it on there. You can just get the trilogy. If you want to delete some space from your hard drive and say, you know what, I don't really like, Halo 3 that much, you're a heathen, of course, but if you want to do that, then okay, go ahead. If you only want Halo 2 Anniversary on there, that's fine. You can have that. I mean, it's pretty much fixed. Classic game types have been brought back into the mix too. SWAT, Team SWAT's back. Classic Halo 2 Team SWAT. Thank God, I can actually play it. The only thing that seems to be broken for me, at least, is if you're in the middle of a campaign and you save a checkpoint, but you close off, you close out of the game or turn off your Xbox or whatever, come back to it, it'll restart that whole level. It will not keep that checkpoint, which is kind of shitty when you're in a legendary run. Especially when you're on a legendary run in the Truth and Reconciliation.
Oh, fuck that.
Definitely fuck that. Halo CE is the last one I've got to go before I'll have all of them done. I've done Halo CE before, but oh my God, it's
I would say that's like the easiest of all of them.
Oh no, Halo 3 is the easiest legendary campaign.
Really?
Playing through all of them. Halo 2 easily the hardest.
Yeah, well that goes without saying.
Because you're the weakest thing next to a flood spore or flood spawn or whatever it's called.
Pretty much.
Halo 4, I would say, is next up. Then I would probably say Halo 1, then Reach, and then Halo 2. 5, I don't know where I'd put 5, but also because apparently they've also dicked around with the campaign and the weapon balance and stuff. When I played it, that probably would have been under Halo 2, if only because it had the tendency to save a checkpoint right before Wraith mortars and shit would hit you and kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And you would not be sent back. It was not forgiving at all. Still not nearly as bad as Halo 2. Halo 2's Legendary Campaign is the worst thing in the world, and I am surprised that my controller survived it.
Yeah, that one...
Very surprised.
That one I did in college, and there was a point where I was hiding and using myself as a spotter as we used a tank as a mortar. Just to get through an area. It sucked. That was not fun to get through, but I did it. Did it with a friend.
Yeah. I mean, it took me a long time, because I remember when when Halo 2 came out for Windows Vista.
Oh God.
Yeah, me and my buddy got it, and we were both trying to do our legendary solo runs.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do co-op because we didn't believe in that, because apparently we're stupid. Anyway, neither of us could get through the first level. We could not finish Cairo Station.
Yeah.
It was abysmal because we always ran out of battle rifle ammo. Always.
Oh yeah,
it's especially the part where all the drones come swarming in on you. It's like, well, we can't fucking do anything.
Pretty much.
But anyway, no, Master Chief Collection is pretty much fixed. Like,
so it's finally worth a recommendation, basically.
It's finally worth the recommendation, and it's on Game Pass too. So if you got that, which honestly I think is kind of a deal now, because it's got enough games to justify you getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, pick it up. It's finally. Thank God.
Took them long enough. Jeez.
Yeah, and they're still updating it too. They're still fixing the bugs and stuff, because of course they ain't fucking around with Halo 5 anymore.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna miss that.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, let's go ahead and move on to my topic.
You got Spider-Man.
I certainly do. I had apparently forgotten to pre-order Spider-Man, and I bought it with my last paycheck. Not this most recent one, but the one before that. Before the bill for the freaking hospital came in. But, so I got to play through Insomniac's Spider-Man, and I wasn't quite sure what to expect from this. Reasons being is that Insomniac hadn't really done like an open world game like this, to my recollection. So I'm like, all right, this could be interesting. At first I thought it was the people who did Infamous, and it was not. It's different. It's the other well-known PlayStation team, basically.
That's Sucker Punch, isn't it?
That's Sucker Punch, yeah. Okay. So that made me a little skeptical. But I bought it anyway because it did look good, and I will say this. Holy crap. It's the best Spider-Man game ever. Easily the best. Now I know some people are going to scream Spider-Man 2 at me. Take your nostalgia glasses off. Though, like, everything Sam Raimi oriented has honestly aged like a banana.
Mm.
Like, Spider-Man 2, I went back and played like a couple years ago. It is not there. It's not there anymore. Like, it was good for the time, but not anymore. This game, on the other hand, was beautiful. Very, very, very fun to play through. Storyline very well written, though it does make some changes in regards to the mythos. Mary Jane is no longer a model in this, and she doesn't look like a model either. She looks sort of like an every girl. And she's a reporter now for the Daily Bugle. J. Jonah Jameson has retired from the Daily Bugle and is now a radio host. So you don't interact with J. Jonah Jameson at all, but he's constantly on the radio talking shit about you. And
Alex Jones Jameson.
It is basically Alex Jones Jameson, and it actually fits very well. So, real quick, just for pen scrap. I'm not belittling Bruce Campbell at all. I loved him in every single Spider-Man movie. Anyway, there is a point where you put chemicals in the water. And I was praying that they were going to make a gay frog reference, and they didn't. And it was such a missed opportunity.
Oh, my God.
Come on, man. So, but no, it's actually really cool. Yuri Lowenthal is the voice of Spider-Man in this. He does a fantastic job, too. A lot of people really weren't sure about this because everybody loves Josh Keaton as Spider-Man. Josh Keaton's also very well known for being the voice of Ryu Hayabusa.
Ocelot.
I actually prefer him as Ryu to Spider-Man, and I thought that Yuri Lowenthal did... Josh Keaton's a good voice actor. Yuri Lowenthal's a very good voice actor with his emotional range. And there are some really emotional parts to this story that he was needed for. especially the Act 3 and the finale. There's some twists here. Another thing, they aged up Miles Morales and made him around Peter's age, maybe a few years younger than him. Works very well. It really was a just incredible game. The combat is a lot better than any Spider-Man game since Maximum Carnage. But Maximum Carnage was a beat 'em up. So, but this game like takes some nods from the Arkham series, but not completely.
What I was about to ask.
Not completely. It's more combo based than Arkham. Arkham was more free flowing. This is not. This is not as much. It's still a little rigid, a lot more than I would like it to be, because here's the thing. Spider-Man in combat always flows from enemy to enemy, like Batman does in the Arkham games. Whereas in a street fight, whenever you're, or any, like from my experience in boxing, that's more combination oriented. Because you would throw like 1, 2, 3, swerve, and then throw the right cross and then the left hook, stuff like that. Whereas Spider-Man, like, this is a guy who's bouncing off the walls and stuff like that. So your flow comes more from jumping around and using acrobatic maneuvers and your webbing than it really is your punches. Which, then again, Spider-Man doesn't necessarily focus on knocking guys out as much as Batman does. Spider-Man has his webbing. He can trap you against the wall if he wants to. So the combat's great. The web swinging is glorious. I've never gotten around New York as smoothly as I did in this game. And it's just... And the costumes, Hatman. So many good costumes.
And the Easter eggs, too.
Yeah, they have both of his or all of his MCU costumes. The one that he fought Vulture in. The traditional Spider-Man one with the black lining. And then, of course, the Iron Spider is in there with the extra legs as an ability. Both of his 2099 costumes, which of course are, not the same character. The Scarlet Spider, which is updated. My personal favorite, though, is just the classic one. And his eyes move in a lot of these costumes, too. So, and there's also one that is a cell-shaded one. That kind
the classic comic book one.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a tribute to Steve Ditko in a lot of ways. So that one made me really, really happy. I really, really enjoyed it.
So, couple questions. One, did you find the Sanctum Sanctorum?
Yes. And the Wakandan Embassy.
Nice. And second, the villains. Is it like just Sinister Six or...
I can't spoil that, but there's a lot of classic ones.
Kraven?
I will say this.
Dang.
Of the big 3 of Spider-Man, only one shows up as a villain. Of the big 3, there is only one. The big 3 being Goblin, Ock, and Venom. Only one.
That shows up as a villain.
As a villain. That's all I'm saying. As a villain.
That's interesting.
As an adversary in this, only one is an adversary in this.
Very interesting.
A lot of it deals with Mr. Negative. And here, don't let this stop you. A lot of it is based off of the early parts of Dan Slott's work. Now, here's the thing. When I mean early stuff, I mean the good Dan Slott stuff, which is Mr. Negative, which was his big contribution to the Spider-Man mythos. And I love the Mr. Negative stuff with Dan Slott. The only downside was it kind of feels like in the story, they kind of replaced Eddie Brock with Miles Morales in a sense. Because Eddie was part of, worked for Feast, got his cancer cured. I would have loved to have seen Anti-Venom in this. But Eddie doesn't show up. However, here's where the mythos is different. Eddie worked with Peter at the Daily Bugle, and there's a piece of the mythos that you find that alludes to them being friends in this. So that's interesting. They were co-workers. So that's really cool. That's interesting. My prediction for the next one is that it's going to have co-op functionality, and you're going to be able to play as a combination of Peter, Miles, and Venom.
So a bit like the Ultimate Spider-Man games that came out several years back.
Only Venom will be Venom, not the Blob.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Ultimate Venom's not as cool.
Mm.
Our Venom, on the other hand, is fucking awesome. It's fucking awesome. And let's face it, if they said you can play it, like if the reveal of the next game was footage of Eddie Brock swinging through New York and running on buildings and shit and like ripping cars in half, they would sell millions that day. Let's be honest.
Millions will be sold.
Millions will be sold. So, yeah, this is a very faithful game. It's if you don't own this game, please go buy it. Don't buy the DLC. Don't. Do not do it. 2 words. Sam Maggs.
See, that's why I don't even want to buy the main game.
From what I've read, she did not have much story writing done on the main game itself. She wasn't credited as one of the lead writers from when I watched the credits. But for some reason, she is in charge of the DLC. And if you look at a picture of Sam Maggs, and then you look at a picture of Black Cat in this game, it's rather obvious she's trying to imprint herself on this. Don't buy it. I would say this. Let's not make that DLC a success, but let's make the main game a success. And when people go and ask why, they will point to her, just like they pointed at Man of Your Hair when it came to Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah. Who is Sam Maggs? Some people are asking.
She ruined the potential comic book career of a member of the Honey Badgers. She's a terrible human being.
And also, she's known for saying that virtual rape was a thing in GTA 5.
Yes. Terrible person.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say about her. I don't want to give her a platform. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the first entertainment topic. Hatman, why are we talking about Batman's dick?
That is a very good question. Why are we talking about Batman's?
Because it's not in the fucking comic.
Well, it's not in the comic anymore. They censored it.
I didn't get a version with it. So I don't know what happened here.
The first printing of Batman Damned had a silhouette of Batman, a naked Batman, with an outline of his dick visible. Yeah. People are actually trying to snap up the first printing just so they can get that bat dick. I'm not even kidding you. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what pisses me off about this? It distracts from an otherwise really good comic. I really enjoyed this first issue of Batman Damned. I love Brian Azzarello. I love his Batman stuff. Like, Brian Azzarello's Joker is incredible. So...
Thin outline, it was the only defining thing there. It was noticeable. It was noticeable. Batman has a package, I will say that. That is it.
The fuck did Selena leave for then?
Because that dick is not made of diamonds, apparently.
Well, there's reasons that she did leave him, and I think that they're actually going to expand on some things in Catwoman as well. Yeah. So, by the way, Joelle Jones's Catwoman is still good. For those wondering, since I've taken a hiatus from Comics Crusade.
How much is Bat Dick worth on eBay? Let's check eBay actually.
Like, if there are eBay sales with Batman's dick, I'm gonna laugh. Take over for real quick. There's something I forgot to grab that I got to show the audience real quick. I'll be right back.
All right. So let's check the eBays. If eBay will load. Now apparently it's not wanting to. Wonderful. Yeah, he's Batman. Of course, his package being massive. I don't know if that's necessarily a thing that we should expect. Okay, you know what? I'll go to the phone since... Okay, now eBay's loaded. Okay, see, I threatened to go to my phone and then eBay loads up. All right. Batman Damned. Print. Holy shit.
Anyway.
Active auctions right now. Batman Damned, first print. $32, $31, $65. And these all have bids on them. $66. Let's see what some have sold for. $95. These are sales today. $70, $100. An A and B cover for $100. $50, $60, $50, $60. Damn, that is one expensive dick. This is insane. This is absolutely insane.
How the fuck is Batman's dick worth hundreds of dollars? This doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know. Yeah, well, yeah. Now we really have to question why Selena Kyle left him. That is one expensive penis. I guess the reason why isn't so much the dick, but the fact that it was censored.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we hold it over journos' heads for them being insistent on seeing bat dick, since they would raise hell if it were a woman and we could see her tits? You know what? Just equality. Fuck it. I don't care.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, has there been a comic where Wonder Woman was naked in it? I don't know of one.
Not yet.
So. Oh, by the way, there was something, just to take a break from cock. Torino de Guzman had paid me quite a bit of money to buy some Vidya for my PS4, and I got it in. All imported from Japan. We have Gundam Breaker 3, Break Edition, and then Super Robot Wars. Super Robot Wars V.
Hell yeah.
Which is hard to see. I'm going to switch cameras real quick. Super Robot Wars V, which has on the cover here Battleship Yamato, Mazinger, Getter Robo, AV Unit 1, and a few Gundams on it as well. Let's see here. Then there is Super Robot Wars OG, the Moon Dwellers, which has... Oh, here's the photo for you. And I don't recognize some of these robots. I think Razafon's on there. And some Gundams as well that I don't recognize. But the big one, since it involves the moon, it makes me wonder if it's like Get a Robo story. And then finally, this one was really cool, was Super Robot Wars X. It came in a collector's edition case. So it's got it's in a tin, and it's really cool looking. And on the cover of this one, they brought Battleship Yamato, Wing Zero's on there. So is Mazinger. A chibi version of one of the early Gundam units. Like, it looks like a lot of fun. Like, these all look like a lot of fun. So, thank you, Torino, for that. All right. So, I think the one that I'm probably going to play first, though, is V. Just because it's like, you've got Mazinger on there, you've got Getter Robo. Those are both Go Nagai creations. You got Gundam, you know, you've got fucking EVA Unit 1. Hell yeah. Alright. So, needless to say, this was kind of silly, this whole situation.
Yeah. Getting all
again, overshadowing an otherwise really good comic. So, where Batman is being haunted by some supernatural force. And there's some illusions that the Spectre is involved. There's some illusions that the Enchantress is involved, and so on and so forth. It's going to be really, like, it's going to be a great series. So I would recommend picking it up. It was on my poll list, so.
There you go.
All right. Let's move on to the next topic. That Captain Marvel trailer. So, let's first talk about it. Hatman, what was your first reaction after you watched it?
I was disappointed.
Poor K.
It seemed overly cliche. Like, you know, oh, I don't remember who I am, but I'm important. Yeah, you're really special. You know, we're really going to need your help for this sort of thing. And just, like, generic action stuff. I thought for a moment in there like they had showed like Marvel in his classic like old school costume,
They
but
do, I think.
that was actually the Captain Marvel helmet with the mohawk.
Oh.
Yeah. Which I'm now disappointed by because I really, really hoped that was going to be Marvel, but no. Anyway, no, it felt weak. Like if that is what building hype for this movie is, then damn, I'm kind of worried about the full trailer. And on top of that, like the accusations that, or not the accusations, but the criticisms that Brie Larson looked really bored for most of the shots that she was in, and had like sort of a deadpan delivery for like what 3 lines she had. I went back and watched it after hearing that because I didn't really pick up on it at first, and yeah, they kind of have a point. It's like what are you doing? Do you want to be there? I'm disappointed by it. I'm honestly disappointed. Kind of wonder now if this is really going to be a dud for Marvel, but it seems like the majority of people are now trying to hail it as the first female-led superhero movie where, you know, I guess they forgot about Wonder Woman.
That drives me fucking nuts. It's like, it was wasn't even 4 years ago. It was like 2 years ago. Wonder Woman came out. 2 fucking years.
2 years ago? It wasn't last year?
I don't remember. But it's like, why are we forgetting Gal Gadot here? Why? Is it because Jew? Is it because Jew?
Well, that's the thing. They were fawning over Wonder Woman when it came out. They were talking like it's Oscar worthy because it's so good. They totally forgot about it.
I literally think it's because Jew. I do think it. Like, it's like, what the fuck? Really?
I don't know.
And Wonder Woman was good. It was a good movie.
It was good.
This does not look good. Wonder Woman looked good from the beginning.
Well, yeah, we were worried about Wonder Woman, for God's sake. And it turned out to be really good. But the trailers still look better than this.
Yeah.
Like I said, this just it looks generic.
She shows no emotion except for a couple of bits where she's smiling. And you wonder why we think she should smile more. Because she's got a dynamite smile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and some people have made a remark. That could be the case. That the Kree brainwash her and turn her into a killing machine. Maybe. If that's the case, okay. But you could have shown more. But I would think that if you're not revealing that plot point in the trailer, and there's a sense of regret there, that showing me that point in time and she doesn't have a smile on her face, I'm going to... Like, she looks like she's auditioning for the Terminator here. It's like resting Brie face. Like, because... And here's the thing, like, the tone of the trailer is all over the place. Like, when she hits the grandma... Now, we know it's a Skrull. But...
Or she thinks it's a Skrull.
Or she thinks it's a Skrull. So... Here's the problem. Like... The audience might not know that.
No. Because they didn't give away really anything about the plot except for amnesia. There's going to be an amnesia story in there.
Yeah, pretty much. So what happened in response to this trailer was there were some people that actually photoshopped a smile onto Brie Larson's face. And what do you know? She looked great. And then somebody over at CBR, let me look up her name again, said that you should stop that. That you, John and Jane Q Public, should stop doing something you want to do. So immediately I have a problem. Immediately I have a problem.
Is it too late for me to wish that this was filled with vodka?
No. But Hannah Collins is the name of the writer. And she says, stop photoshopping smiles on Brie Larson's face. Hannah, are you sitting down? fuck you and the horse you rode in on. You don't get to tell me what to do. On top of that, there's a point here. And that is that if we saw more of her coming across like a hero, I would be sold on this movie. I posted a GIF on my Twitter feed of her smiling and laughing in the Captain Marvel costume, and instantly it's like, that's somebody I want to talk to.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing about the Carol Danvers character. For those who understand the character and such, is that Carol is actually a very likable person. She's got some sharpness to her in regards to her personality, but that's because she's got personal damage. She's an alcoholic. She has to deal with that addiction every day. This comes across like people don't want her to be vulnerable. That people don't want her to be to have issues.
No.
So it's okay for Tony Stark. It's okay for Captain America. It's okay for the Hulk. It's okay for Spider-Man. It's okay for all these male characters to have problems. But this, not even Black Widow, but this specific character, not allowed.
Remember, though, when Black Widow showed vulnerability, they called that misogynistic.
Which is bullshit. Stop being a mewling Quim.
No, that's exactly the issue. It's a different set of rules. No, if a woman is not over the top and a total badass and has no problems at all, then it's a misogynistic portrayal, which is total bullshit. Do you want to turn a strong female character into a token?
Because that's what they're going to do.
Do you want to write people?
Yeah, well, that's the problem, is that this feminist idea of what a female character is supposed to be is not a human. It's a robot.
Yeah. And that sucks for a character like Carol Danvers. Like, she really... And they want to build the next iteration of the MCU on her back?
Yeah, if she is your next Captain America, in a sense, you better fucking impress me from day one.
Yeah, you really need to do something. Like, she and Cap do have quite a bit in common. So, build on that. Build on something like that. Build on those common traits. On her actually, struggling. Her growth as a character, as a person. That way, we'll have a reason to root for her, other than the fact that she's probably going to be the one to end Thanos, or at least stop him. Like, being OP is not a character trait, people.
No, and that's something that they don't understand. They really don't. And I worry that this is actually going to have the same problem that Thor: The Dark World had in an ill-defined villain, too.
Yeah.
Because this is the problem when it comes to female characters in comics. Especially Kamala Khan. Who is Kamala Khan's nemesis? Anybody? Anybody? At all?
You got me.
Hold on, let me put my ear outside for a second and see. We'll ask the audience. Who is Kamala Khan's nemesis?
Reality.
Okay, who is America Chavez's nemesis? There isn't one. There's no one to define them as people.
Yeah, their nemesis are the readers.
Yeah. So Cap had the Red Skull. Then he had Hydra. Then he had his best friend. Or one of his best friends. These defined him And if you're telling me it's just the Skrulls, and the villain in this does not knock it out of the park, this movie's going to suck. Because what you're showing me is not the type of a story that we want to see. What did I miss?
Just some of these answers are hilarious. America Chavez's nemesis is ice.
Or me.
Kamala Khan's
No, America Chavez's nemesis is me.
Like, good writing. Yeah, that's...
I need fan art of me fighting America Chavez now. Like it with me in the suit. Like it's just got to happen now.
Oh my god. America Chavez fighting ice.
I'm surprised it has not happened yet.
That's pretty good.
They're going to hire back Gabby Rivera and it's going to happen.
God,
I guarantee freaking to you in the next year it will happen. All right, let's move on to our final topic for the day.
Let's do it.
Okay,
well,
so
before we move along, though, do we still want to see Captain Marvel?
I do still. I'm gonna give it a shot.
I do too. I'll wait till the next trailer drops before I really start to pass judgment, but I'm still gonna give it a shot.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about this last topic that I had picked. So I actually was trying to record a vlog on this earlier in the week, and I decided against it. But I kind of want to bring this back up because there's a conflict. In regards to Comicsgate, I think that there is a problem here, and that is that let's talk about the two narratives. So let's talk about the anti-Comicsgate are basically saying harassers. You say mean stuff on the internet. And I saw that there's this girl named Renfamous who's a cosplayer who not really that great. Not really someone of note, but she, she's a woman on the internet who's a feminist, ergo a bunch of male feminists started, trying to sniff her panties. And there was a point where she was mocking Ethan Van Sciver for him calling Patton Oswalt an asshole, which, newsflash, Patton Oswalt is an asshole. Because one of the things about Comicsgate, and one thing that we see as a main concern, is that comic book shops are getting closed around the nation because they can't sell any books because the books all suck.
Mm-hmm.
And Ren was mocking Ethan for this. And I thought it was a really interesting comparison of two narratives. On one hand, you have people saying, you're saying mean stuff online. Okay, fine. You can do stuff about that on Twitter. You can mute people on Twitter. You can block them. And they do it en masse. These people love block bots. So they don't have to listen to people who clearly don't care about what books they're selling, and clearly don't care about their opinions, and they're being dicks for the sake of being dicks. You can just mute them. But so that's your concern. All right, okay, fine. You have the means of dealing with that. Now, what are you going to do about these shops closing? What are you offering as the solution, or do you have one? Because Comicsgate has a solution. Better fucking comics. And because Marvel and DC aren't willing to create them, we are. My book will probably be on Indiegogo at the beginning of next year, which is not that far away when you think about it.
Yeah, it's really not.
People try to say that comic books are evolving. Okay, last I checked, when a business evolves, it gets better. It doesn't go into a fucking grave.
No. No, it doesn't. Personal anecdote. There are two local comic shops in my city where I live. One of them closed a few months back. I didn't even know because they just went quietly. And didn't even realize it till I drove by and saw the place was now some sort of flower shop. they always had books on the shelves. They didn't really dabble too much in publishers outside of the big two. A few Image stuff, but mostly it was like for Walking Dead. Otherwise, it was DC and Marvel, like all the way. Couldn't sell new stuff. Always sold through their long boxes though. Of older stuff. Silver Age, Bronze Age, all that stuff. Always were selling through that. But new stuff, nobody wanted it. And now they went under. And I don't know why. I don't know what happened because they didn't make any sort of announcement about it. You know, I kept up with them on Facebook. The Facebook page just deleted one day and they're out. And that's sad. That's honestly sad. Because I know the dude who ran the place had a deep love and appreciation for comics. And, you know, he was always willing to talk about that stuff for people. He was really enthusiastic about it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, now what? Now he's out of a job, I guess. I don't know what he's doing now. I have no idea. And that's really sad to think about. When something you love gets bastardized. And then it affects you on a personal level.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Like,
well, let me finish just real quick.
Okay.
Marvel and DC, yeah, they're trying to sell their stuff too. But LCSs are also in the market for sales. They don't really get to make the decisions for Marvel and DC. They don't get to go at them and say, hey, the books aren't selling for us. Can you do something about this? They don't get that. They're the ones getting screwed more often than not. And that's the issue. That's the big problem here. You're screwing over mom and pop shops.
What happens if you start shipping moldy bread to grocery stores? Because that's what this is.
Yeah, you can't put it on the shelves because nobody's going to want it.
Exactly. And that's what they're doing. It's ridiculous, and it needs to stop. And that's the thing about Comicsgate. We can answer your concern about people being dicks on the internet. Mute them. Block them if you have to. If you think you're being actually legitimately threatened by somebody, go to the police.
Yeah.
You have methods to deal with this.
Yeah.
My question was, and will be, what is your solution to what is happening to comic book shops? Because when Joe Quesada won't even answer that fucking question, then there's a problem.
Yep.
All right, before we move into the Q&A, one thing I forgot to mention with my stuff that I digested, I've also started getting back into Star Wars The Old Republic.
Ooh.
So if those of you want to play the game with me, let me know, Twitter, wherever, and I'd love to get a bunch of people together to play with one another. So our lead mod, Brainbox Boy, has recently started playing as well, and so have a couple other people in the community. So it's something I'm doing on a fairly regular basis just to unwind after work. So let me know, because there's also no games coming out for a while that I'm really looking forward to playing aside from the Resident Evil 2 remake. So, but it's really fun to play through. I'm looking forward to doing the most recent expansions too. So, because I haven't played since like before Shadow of Revan came out. That's how long it's been. Epsilon Core, if you'd like to work with me on stuff, please hit me up via Twitter or email to show me your work. I want to, I always like seeing, if I don't have anywhere I could put you, then I could always, tweet you out there and get you some exposure. So, all right. Questions. We had one via the Twitter. I had a couple. The first one was, what are our thoughts on the accusations that the Witcher series plagiarized Elric of Melibene? I don't think that there's a solid case there.
Mm-hmm. Haven't we talked about that one?
We did last week briefly on the overflow, so I figured I'd just say it. Yeah, I don't think that accusation really holds a lot of water. And then Elric of Melopony asked, follow up to his last question, how are people like myself, Ethan, DNC, making our own comics supposed to impact the industry? Indie comics have been around forever. The only way I could see CG creators having a real impact is by forming a united alternative. Oh, wait, no, he already asked this question. Never mind. And the answer to that is we do need to all get together, I think, at some point and form our own company. One company. Because there's a few out there, but like with Hatman and I'm very happy to see that Ethan and my boy Zach and others are doing their own thing, but I think if we had our own Image Comics, or if we got behind a company that already has something that's put together, I think that we would do much more, which is why when Hatman and I were talking about the upcoming Indiegogo campaign for Project Lazarus, we're pitching the book to a couple different companies. So, now granted, if neither of those companies bite, we will pitch it to either Ethan or to, or we will ask Ethan or Richard if they would be interested in it, because Ethan's starting his own company called All Caps, and of course we've got Splato as well. So, all right.
So, question that was carried over, and we kind of wanted to talk about this, but it was basically the 0 hour for putting the podcast together. But Telltale, what are our thoughts on Telltale going under?
My only problem with Telltale was that they were flooding the market, and it didn't really. I didn't think it was going to hold, which is unfortunate because like The Wolf Among Us was an amazing game.
No, so I'm told. See, I wasn't really big on Telltale stuff except for the Strong Bad game, because of course
it's a Strong Bad game.
Yeah, I fucking love Homestar. But everything else, like, I tried the first season of The Walking Dead, and I didn't really care too much for it. But I know there was a ton of people that love that stuff, and that's fine. It's just not my cup of tea. But I was under the impression that they were doing rather well for themselves. And then I heard that, Batman was a huge flop, and the Guardians of the Galaxy game was not doing well at all. And like the only profit that they had since the first season of Walking Dead was Minecraft story mode.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that really? Like, not even Tales from the Borderlands?
Well, I'm not surprised they didn't do very well. Borderlands players don't care about story.
Well, but yeah, then even like Wolf Among Us didn't do that well. Damn.
I'm not surprised at that either, just because Fables is such an obscure Vertigo series. But I would have figured just by the quality of it, it probably would have done well. But
yeah, but well, that's a shame. And now they're saying like this current season, which is supposed to be the last for The Walking Dead, is canceled.
Yep.
Like halfway through, canceled. Wolf Among Us 2 canceled. Like, damn, that's fucking depressing. The only reason why they have a skeleton crew left is to finish Minecraft story mode, which, Jesus.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
That's depressing. Yeah, but it's heartening to see some other publishers and dev studios reaching out and saying, "Hey, we'll hear you out. If you are a former Telltale, get in touch with us." Like I think Ubisoft even said, "Hey, we'll buy you lunch. Pitch us what you've worked on, and we'll see if we can get a spot for you."
Yeah,
like you don't really see that in other industries, not usually. So I'm very impressed with what's going on there, but still, man, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and so I had seen that some people, it's like they didn't pay for overtime. I will tell you this right now, as somebody who has worked for a salary before: do not take the job if you don't think you're being properly compensated.
Right.
Like that's like I'm being dead serious. Like that. I've worked for a salary and then ended up working long hours. But I knew that going in, and the salary was pretty substantial. So it's like you need to be smarter about how you negotiate for things. If there's not like an overtime clause in it, and you think that's ridiculous that there isn't, then don't take the fucking job. So All right. Give us some questions, Hatman. What do we got from the chat?
All right.
For the next 8 minutes.
Wow, that's quite a bit. Let's see. We've talked about High Guardian Spice and She-Ra before. That was a few episodes back, actually. Thoughts on our cowardly hero Iron Fist? I'm guessing that's from season 2?
I haven't watched season 2, so I can't really say much about it.
I haven't either.
Like, I've watched 2 episodes, and I just actually lost interest. It's not very interesting so far.
I haven't seen Luke Cage yet. Any of it. I haven't seen Iron Fist yet. I haven't seen Defenders yet. I've seen Daredevil seasons 1 and 2, Jessica Jones season 1, and Punisher. That's it.
Luke Cage season 2 is really good. Season 1's okay.
I'll check them out eventually, but it's just they're not high priority on the list. Anyway, Sourceman 100, thoughts on Kotaku complaining about Spider-Man helping cops in the game?
He's always helped cops.
Yeah.
Are you fucking serious?
You can't say that all superheroes are social justice warriors and then bitch because they're working with police in the same breath. Like, it doesn't work like that.
That's the thing. Superheroes were never social justice warriors at all.
No, they're vigilantes.
They work within the bounds of the law, outside of the vigilantism.
Yeah. It's...
What part of friendly neighborhood do you not fucking understand? Jesus.
It's going to be really problematic when they find out that Miles Morales helps the police, too.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to think that with this little outfit of mine, I should buy suspenders for it. Anyway. Yeah, it's stupid.
Here's one. Audis Whisper asks, thoughts on Frank Cho denouncing Comicsgate as an alt-right hate group?
Whatever.
I'm surprised for Frank Cho, but...
I really don't care. Like, Frank Cho is more than welcome to bite the hand that feeds him. Like, he was probably told by somebody at Marvel, it's like, look, you either denounce Comicsgate or you're not getting hired again.
Wasn't his name on that betting list that was going around?
Oh, yeah. So was Scott Snyder and some others.
Yeah, Scott Snyder it was like 1 in 3 odds, and then he was the first one to say, "Oh yeah, I saw this. I thought it was kind of obvious. I hated Comicsgate."
Yeah, it's like, oh okay, I'm not buying Justice League anymore.
Yep, there you go.
Fuck you, man.
Let's see.
But yeah, the idea that like Spider-Man wouldn't work with the cops, though, it's like Gwen's dad was a police officer, and Jean DeWolf as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he's worked with cops for ages. So, thoughts on Joaquin Phoenix's Joker? So we actually looked at some of the test footage before we started the podcast, and it looks really good.
Oh yes, I had my reservations at first because, of course,
this is the DCEU we're talking about.
Yeah, this looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix is a good choice. It's a very good choice.
He's got some good chops, so...
Well, yeah, he's one of the best villains ever in Gladiator, so...
Well,
his like, Commodus, damn.
See, I always think Walk the Line.
Yeah, Walk the Line, well, of course, but I'm talking about villain to villain here.
Oh yeah, villains, of course, but... No, whenever I think, like, you know, really, really good acting that he's done, I can't help but think of Johnny Cash.
Oh, yeah. It's part of the reason I always wear black. But then again, I've been a Johnny Cash fan since I was a kid. So.
If Micah is Kingpin, then is Hatman Daredevil?
No, because Hatman doesn't try to fight me.
Well, that, and also I wear glasses. So I mean, I guess when I take my glasses off, he's I can't
my
see
Wesley.
as well, but... yes! There we go. Oh, shit. That means I get... No, whatever.
So, Hatman, avoid the blondes, like I've been telling you, so you don't get shot. Let's see here. Which villains would we want for a second and third game for Spider-Man? Well, Venom is not really a villain anymore. That's the interesting thing. He doesn't have an adversarial relationship with Spider-Man. At the end of the last issue of the Dan Slott run on Spider-Man, Spider-Man makes amends with Eddie. and then the symbiote as well, which was pretty crazy. And he also made amends with Otto. Like that, it's kind of weird because it's like, of Spider-Man's classically 3 biggest villains, 2 of them don't even hate him anymore.
Yeah, that's weird.
So
strange timeline.
But no, for the next one, I'm hoping that they get into symbiote stuff for reasons. I'm not gonna spoil as to why. So, but Goblin is the number 1 as to who I want in there. I'd like to see Carnage pop up. I'd like to see some of the Life Foundation symbiotes pop up as well. And there's some I would like to return. I'd like to see Kingpin back. Scorpion I'd like to see back, and Rhino to have more to do with them as well. So
Chameleon.
A Chameleon would be cool to show up, in Kraven as well. So
I don't think Chameleon gets as much love as he deserves.
No, I've always
Very
thought he was
unique.
a really he's a very unique villain.
Yeah.
Kraven's Last Hunt has a lot to do with Chameleon.
Yeah.
If you've never read Kraven's Last Hunt, it's a great
That's a
story.
classic story.
Oh yeah.
Koopa's Revenge Home wants us to talk about Revan.
I love Revan.
I do too. I wouldn't say greatest Star Wars character because he's
not Luke Skywalker.
He's not he's not R2D2.
Well, but no, Revan is probably my favorite character in Star Wars, though.
Revan's great.
Yeah, he's incredible. He has so much depth to him, and so many wrinkles in the character. He's the reason I went and started playing the Old Republic. Why I eventually had to play it, because somebody told me that
it's also the reason why the Knights of the Old Republic was such a good game.
Oh yeah,
and the reason why everybody always wants, if it's anything Star Wars canon having to do with the Old Republic or the old Sith, they want Revan.
Mm-hmm.
Revan's got to be in there. I mean, they almost put Revan in Clone Wars, for God's sake.
Yeah, they ended up putting Darth Bane in there.
Yeah.
And
close, but
that was basically them making the Old Republic canon in a way, because you can't have Bane without Revan.
Yeah.
So, and it wouldn't surprise me if at some point they put in. There's rumors that there's going to be another expansion for this game for the Old Republic. I think that probably they're going to do one more expansion, then they're going to close the game down probably in a couple of years, because the player base has declined considerably. Mm-hmm. So it's not really sustaining itself as well as it used to. The cartel market was kind of the last big push that they had, but they recently made like all of the expansions free to subscribers, so that kind of tells me that they're desperate. That's a lot of free content. So I think what they'll probably, it wouldn't surprise me at some point if they turn the Old Republic into like an animated series along the lines of Clone Wars, and it would probably be a huge hit. Especially if they brought back a lot of the old voice actors. Well, some they can't, sadly, because some have passed away.
Yeah.
Specifically, who's the guy who played Canderous Ordo? Played Solidus as well.
Not off the top of my head, I don't know.
Well, let's find out.
While you're looking that up, Hatman, all I have to say is watch Man of Steel a second.
420 Gunnian donated $25.
No.
Thank you. That's actually a big help, my friend. Thank you very much. Let me see what he said with that. Could you review Why the Last Man Book 1? Sure, I can. I've never read it, so.
Yes, I. You know what? I'll do that too. Because somebody recommended that to me the other day, and I'll pick it up. And I'll do it too.
Oh, it's John Seigan was the voice of Canderous and Solidus Snake.
Yes.
Yeah, he passed. He passed away last year. So. But yeah, still some of the other voice actors still are around. I mean, Jennifer Hale obviously was the voice of Bastila, and then I can't remember the voice actress who did Juhani, but she was great. And then of course Phil LaMarr did voice acting in the original game as well.
Phil LaMarr is always good.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a if they made that into a series, I think it would be a hit. There's a lot of characters there. I think even people would probably even get behind Mission Veo if you did it right. Though, to be honest, Mission's kind of like pointless after Terrace. But Courtney Taylor, that's right. Yeah, so... Oh, we've gone over time. So, This is the point, though, where you start asking questions for the overflow. So, if you do have a question for us that you would like us to answer on the overflow here in the next couple of days, please go ahead and type them into the chat now, and please go ahead and tag ourselves and Brainbox Point in them as well, so that we can go ahead and get that together. And then, yeah, once again, if you're interested in basically playing a video game with me, I'm going to be on the Old Republic for a while. Just leveling myself up and playing through the expansions as well whenever I get there. I'd love to do raids again. You know, I tanked several hard mode raids back in the day. And as Brainbox can tell you, my Sith Juggernaut is a monster. So, yeah. But... Again, get in touch with me via email or Twitter. If there's enough people who are interested in it, I'll create another Discord server for people who want to play that. So, alright. I'm also going to try to get that vlog released of my thoughts on my second watching of Man of Steel as well. So I'll try to put that up tonight since Hardboiled Entertainment is bribing me.
I don't know why I have to watch it a second time, though.
If you want to join me on that sort of stuff, feel free to. Because, though I will say, if Hardboiled's about to do what I think he's about to do, I'm really gonna enjoy rewatching Wonder Woman. So, because you want to know what was really cool, and I think that might end up topping Gal Gadot when it comes to her compared to Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, is when the character of Diana saw a baby in the London streets and her reaction to it. That made me love the character because she has a heart. And write women like women, writers. Write women like women. Because nobody can... God, in my opinion, made it in a way that nobody can quite show their strength like a man can. Nobody can quite show their heart like a woman can. And that, I think, is a beautiful thing. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and take off. Remember, questions for the overflow, put them in now. But until next week, my name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, also known as The Hatman.
We'll see you guys then. Deus Volt.
Deus Volt.